what it is. It's your man, 100 Grand, AD, reporting live from the Press Start 410 studios. Today, I'm here to talk to y'all about, BAM! This guy, the PlayStation Classic. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, the PS Classic was produced, manufactured, and put out in the marketplace around 2020 or 2021. I forget the exact date. It was around the same time as the NES and Super NES Classic. It did not do as well as those joints because it only had like 20 games on it. If you just want to get to the modern part of this video, skip ahead. But I'm going to tell my story about PlayStation right now. Now, the PS Classic, only 20 games, was a huge disappointment. There was some bangers on here. It had Metal Gear Solid. It had Resident Evil's Director's Cut, Siphon Filter, just to name a few solid bangers. Also Tekken 3, one of my all-time favorite games. But it was missing Parappa the Rapper. No Gran Turismo games were on here at all. And they didn't even have a Crash Bandicoot. No Crash 1, no Crash 2, no Crash Warp, no Crash Team Racing. Like, come on, he was the freaking mascot, man. He was the fucking mascot. How could you not put him on here? That's like Sega putting out a Sega Classic and no Sonic, or NES putting out an NES Classic with no Mario. Y'all gotta do better, Sony. But back to the PlayStation itself. I remember back in Christmas of 1995, I wanted a PlayStation bad, and my mom was always so good at hiding the Christmas gifts. Shout out moms. Mama! But this year she was slacking on her macking, slipping on her pippin'. I remember we went in the closet a few days before Christmas and we found the gifts. And I saw a box that looked like it might be a PlayStation. I remember picking the box up and doing one of these. Did a little shake, you know, trying to figure out how much it weighed to see if it felt like a PlayStation. And I was about 90% certain it was a PlayStation, but I had to wait a few more days for Christmas, and on Christmas morning, I did not sleep a wink. I woke up at 5 a.m., ran straight for the box, opened it up, lo and behold, a shiny new PlayStation.
Oh my god, I have a Sony PlayStation.
And I hooked it up, went in the bedroom, and played Street Fighter Alpha with my brother. And a few hours later, my mom woke up around 8 o'clock, made us breakfast. We opened the rest of our gifts, but I digress. The PlayStation just holds a place near and dear in my heart. And it's sad that it was so trash when they put out the PlayStation Classic. They did not do us a service with this thing. However, thanks to the brothers at Project Eris, we now have a device that we can be proud of, and you can add any PlayStation game you want. All you really need is one of these. Got a 64 gigabyte flash drive here. You can get a flash drive on Amazon, very, very cheap. I also have a wireless adapter for my controller because, you know, I don't want to play like this little crappy controller they give you, man. Like, it's wired. You know, it's cute and all. Looks like the original PlayStation controller. Let me find my controller. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I got this right here, man. DualShock 4. Kind of reminds you of the PS1 controller, but it's a lot sleeker, slicker, and it's wireless, man. You know, I got too many wires around here anyway. And I also have a Wi-Fi adapter. That way I can scrape the box art on my games later on. I'm gonna show y'all exactly how I do all of that. And I'm gonna show you how to do this mod. Let's get it in. Okay, so I'm assuming you already have your flash drive ready to go. The first thing you're gonna do after that is you're gonna go to modmyclassic.com. I'll include the link in the description, and you're gonna scroll all the way down until you get to the part where it says download Project Eris full package. I'm gonna click on that and wait for it to download. It should take a minute or two depending on your internet connection, but it shouldn't take that long. And then we're gonna go to the next part after that. Okay, now that you've downloaded that, you wanna navigate to the folder you downloaded it to. So mine is in my downloads folder. Just gonna navigate over to my downloads. I'm gonna click here. Then I'm gonna go to Project Eris. I'm gonna right click on it and I'm gonna extract all. I'm gonna change the location or the extraction location to my desktop. That way it's easy to find. So I'm gonna click on desktop, select folder, and then I'm gonna extract. and we're just gonna wait for this to finish. I'm gonna fast forward through this because I know y'all don't want to see this. Nothing really to see here, just gonna wait for this to finish. Okay, now you want to format your USB drive with the FAT32 file formatter. So I'm gonna include the link in the description to get to this page. Once you get here, you're gonna click on the picture, and if they give you a prompt like download block, just make sure you hit keep. Otherwise, just allow this tool to download. Once that's downloaded, you want to open it up. So you're going to go to the location, double click on it, and open the program. If a UAC prompt pops up like this, you're just going to hit yes. So you hit yes, and you're going to format the drive. So I'm going to navigate over to my drive letter. Well, first let me put the drive in. Just give me 1 second to do that. Okay, so now I have the drive inserted into my PC, and I'm going to format it in FAT32. All right, so I'm going to click on start, and it's going to say all data will be lost. You're going to hit OK. I don't have anything on this drive anyway, and I'm going to wait for this to format. And voila, it's all done. Okay, now that my drive's formatted in FAT32, I want to take Project Eris and drag and drop it over to my USB drive. So what I have to do is I have to open Project Eris. It's here on my desktop. I'm going to make this half of my screen. That way I can open another window. And I'm going to go over to my USB drive. So my USB drive should be empty. You want to check and make sure it's formatted in FAT32, so you can look in properties and it should say FAT32 right about here. So I see that this is the right file format for what I need right now. And I'm going to copy and paste everything in this folder. So I'm going to Control A, and I'm going to drag everything over to my USB drive. And it's going to take quite some time. I know y'all don't want to sit through this. So with the power of technology, I'm just going to fast forward this entire part. Okay, so one thing I forgot to do is rename my USB drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my drive. Here it is. I thought I opened it. There it goes. All right, I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit rename. Here's the option, and I'm going to name it SONY in all caps. The drive has to be named SONY in all caps. This is what you need to do. Please don't forget this step, is very important. Now, once you insert the USB drive back into your PS Classic, you're going to receive this message from Project Eris. It's going to say running on FAT32 is not supported. Backup USB to PC, reformat, and copy back over to proceed. So that's exactly what you're going to do. Okay, so now you got to create a backup of what you just did. So what you need to do is you're going to navigate back over to your USB drive. I'm assuming you put your USB back into your PC. I'm going to navigate over to my USB. Here it is, SONY. And I'm going to create a backup folder on my desktop. I'm going to create a new folder. Just going to call it PS Classic Backup. Okay, and I'm going to drag and drop the contents of my SONY drive. All right, here we go. And it shouldn't take too long, you know, about a minute or so. So just give it a little bit of time. And now we're going to format that drive because we need to format it to NTFS so the file systems can be read by the PS Classic. So we're going to right click, hit format, and then you're going to go over the file system, click NTFS, make sure the volume label still reads SONY, and you're going to hit start. And the warning says formatting will erase yada yada. You're going to hit OK anyway. And you'll get a message that says format complete once everything's all said and done. Okay, so now that you've formatted the drive to NTFS, you're going to verify that, so you can right click and go to properties, and you should see NTFS. It should still be named Sony. So you're gonna take your backup, which is right over here. You're gonna copy the contents, and you're gonna drag it back over to the Sony drive. And this is gonna take quite some time. So I'm gonna fast forward through all this. Just assume that everything was done correctly and this finishes at some point. Okay, booting back up. Let's see what we got here. Oh, and here we have it. Project Eris has successfully been loaded to my PS Classic. It is now modded, and this is how you can tell. You get the Project Eris boot menu. It's so beautiful to look at. On the left you have Retroarch, in the middle Project Eris, and on the right you have Emulation Station. So I'm going to boot into Emulation Station. It's going to say you don't have any systems because, well, you don't have any yet. So that's not going to work, at least not yet. And you got a few new folders here, folders that were not here before. Retroarch is over here as well. You have a game manager, Project Eris right here. And you still have the same 20 games that you had before, but now we can add new games. Now, in order to add games to Retroarch, I want to open it up first within the PS Classic, so I'm going to boot into it. Okay, and you get pretty much a basic Retroarch menu. I know a lot of y'all that have been emulating for a while are used to seeing Retroarch. This is how it looks when it first boots up, but this is important to do because it creates certain folders within the Sony drive that will allow you to add your games. And you also need to add your cores as well, so I'm going to download all the Retroarch cores that I need for the older systems, you know, like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, NES, TurboGrafx, so on and so forth. Okay, now you want to get all of your cores for Retroarch. So you're going to navigate to this website. I'm going to have the link in the description for all the cores or where you should go. And what you're going to do is you're going to scroll until you see allcores.zip or _allcores.zip, and you're going to download that. It's only going to take 20 seconds to download. Finally, I'm going to add some non-PS1 games. I'm going to start with some NES, so I'm going to navigate over to where I have my Nintendo Entertainment System games. Navigate here. I'm going to copy everything in this folder except for the videos, manuals, and images. I don't need those. And I'm going to go over to the ROMs folder on my Sony drive. I'm going to go to ROMs, and I'm going to find the NES folder here. So there should be an NES folder. Here it is. Open that up, and I'm going to drag and drop all of these in there. Oops, messed that up a little bit. Got to do that again. Here we go. Got it this time. Dragging and dropping all those over there, and that should take a little bit of time. Doing a lot of copying right now. You're going to see the finished product pretty soon. Okay, now I'm going to configure my input. It's very important that you do this so you can actually play your games. I'm going to do this real fast. I'm probably going to fast forward through this process. Now I'm going to boot into a game just to see if it works. So I have here Sonic and Knuckles. I'm going to click on that. Sega. Looks like it's working to me. I think I'm going to run with Knuckles real quick. And here we go. Okay, so I booted back into Emulation Station, and I've changed the theme on here. The original theme is okay, but I feel like this is a little bit better. It's Epic Noir. All of my games are added now, so you know I have a bunch of titles, especially super throwback stuff like Super Nintendo, NES, you know, I got the whole library there. Game Gear, entire library pretty much. Genesis, entire North American library. TurboGrafx 16. Final Burn Alpha, that's like arcade games. Neo Geo, just a few games there. Dreamcast, just a handful of my favorite titles on Dreamcast. PlayStation, 51 games, so a lot more than come on the classic. Only 20 come on the classic.
Holy crap!
What was that? Shut up and put some more of that sugar in my bowl.
Pause. You know what I'm saying? But I've also done a little bit of screen scraping, you know, so I have the title screen pretty much as a screenshot just so I can, you know, look at some form of artwork. You know, I haven't put the game videos on here. I'm not sure if they work. I don't really care as long as I got something to look at. And I'm just gonna boot into a game to make sure they work. So here's Die Hard. This is a favorite of mine as a kid. I had to add BIOS files, so this should work. There it goes. Booting up. This is a game that I played a lot of with my cousin Big Ray. So shout out Ray, man. Like, I'm sure he remembers mid-90s. We used to run this all the time. I don't know why our parents allowed us to play shit like this, but you know, it was a different day and age. And you know, I'm pretty much at the end of this video. I want y'all to like and subscribe, man. Watch my other videos. I talk about all things gaming, so retro games, that's really my favorite genre of video game. But I'm into modern games as well, you know, PS5 stuff, that's cool. Xbox Series, you know, I'm a big fan of Game Pass, but I also do tutorials once in a while when I think of things. So modding consoles is my favorite thing to do. I've been modding ever since the original PSP and just adding a bunch of games. So doing this to the PS Classic is nothing new. Never done it with a PS Classic before, but you know, I've done it on a ton of other systems, and you know, this is fun, man. Like, you know, I can't lie, I enjoy the setup more than I enjoy gaming at this point in time in my life. And the PS Classic was ass before I added all these games, but thank God it's no longer booty. Pause.